Guys, welcome back to the Overrun Galaxy. I know last video I said it was going to be next week, but I had the time off. My fiance wanted me to do the deck profile, and in my opinion, it's an underdog deck profile, especially now that Red Rose Dragon is off the ban list. That means this deck profile is now back up to full power. This is Rose Dragons, which I believe is a slept-on deck at the moment, especially with all the synchro decks going around in the format. Tenpai being one of them. We have White Forest, and we also have the Centurions. Like, just a lot of synchro decks are going around. I feel like this deck is just a slept-on underdog. It may not be like top meta, but I do believe it belongs down in Rogue. If you didn't get like the hint the last video, the hint of what the deck profile of this was the playmat. So I don't want to keep you guys here too long, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into the deck profile. And just as I said, it's back at 3. Probably one of the best starter cards in this deck. 3 Red Rose Dragons. Red Rose Dragon, when it's used for a synchro summon, when it's used for a synchro material, you can special summon a Rose Dragon from your hand or deck. So that, you go ahead, bring out your Rocks Rose, you combo off your Rocks Rose. And so that's one of the whole reason this card got banned a while back when Based was going around. That deck just like shoved a bunch of dragons in the deck. So now it's back at 3. This deck's back at its full power. So I did tweak things around from the last time I showed this deck profile. So we are, like I said, playing 3 Red Rose Dragons. The next one, like I said, I mentioned it, is the 3 Rocks Rose Dragons. Rocks Rose Dragon, when it's normal special summon, you can summon a Rose Dragon from your graveyard. This is pretty good. You'll special this off the Red Rose, and this goes off. You bring out the Red Rose, and then you just can go into more synchro plays. The next Rose Dragon card we're playing is 3 of the White Rose. 3 White Rose Dragons. It's whenever it's summoned, special summon, I believe. No, it's whenever it's normal summon, you can special summon a Rose Dragon from your graveyard or your hand. So that's just another way recycle your Rose Dragons, go into more of your synchro plays. This is a very synchro heavy deck. So this deck does fail to things like Dimensional Barrier, and that it also fails to Dimension Shifter. So do most of the decks that are ever played. That's it for the Rose Dragon portion. The next is, we're just going to go ahead with the Plant Rose portion. Now the next one is 2 Rudy Rose Witch and 1 Black Rose Witch. I did have this up at 2-2, but since Red Rose Dragon's back at 3, I knocked it down the Witch of the Black Rose to 1. Especially since Rudy Rose can search it by attributing itself. And then, obviously, if they're still in graveyard, we have the effect of Black Rose Dragon, the banished one. 2 Rose Princess. This is typically if you get a level 4 tuner out, like your Black Rose Witch. Synchro it off of that, or if this card can be special summoned if you control no monsters and your opponent does, you'll special summon it, and then it becomes a tuner. So then that just combos in with the rest of your full forwards that are also played in the plant engine and in our secondary engine that is in the deck. Now on to the one-ofs of the plant engine. is we got one Rose Girl. One Rose Girl, she's a level 3 tuner. She recycles herself back from the graveyard if a plant monster is destroyed. One Dark Rose Witch. Which basically if a tuner special summon to the field, you can special summon her. That's mainly what she uses for is the combo plays. And then our last plant is World Carrot Weight Champion. World Carrot Weight Champion, it's another recycle. You can recycle from the graveyard via its own effect. Also, it still combos off with the rest of the deck, which is plant-based. On to the secondary engine of the deck is Adventure. We're playing 3 Water Enchantress and 2 Rights. 3 Water Enchantress, 2 Rights. I feel like this is the best of it because we got our main searcher out here and then play 2 of what it searches. I feel like last time I played 3 and 3 in a deck, I saw way too much of this one and then not enough of this. I feel like 3-2 is the better combo. That way you can just go ahead, pitch it off, search that one, and then if it happens to get ashed, you have the second one that's still live. And then it's just a secondary engine. So the main engine of this deck is the Rose Dragon plants. To continue with the Adventure engine is the one-ofs. Is the 1 Wandering Griffin Rider, the Omnium Gate, 1 Fateful Adventure, and then 1 Draco back. If you don't know what these cards do, this gets placed up with the Rite of Errant Seer, and then if you normal summon, you get to add a monster, and then you can also you get to add the equip, and then you can also that turn add Wandering Griffin Rider by discarding the Draco back. Then Draco back from graveyard activates and attaches itself to the token that you bring onto your field. We are then also playing 2 Revolution Synchron. This is just a great card in this deck, especially since Black Rose Dragon's a level 7. And if this is used for a Synchro Summon of level 7 or 8 Dragon monster, you can use it from your hand. And then if it was used for a Synchro Summon, it specials itself back as a level 1. And then we're also playing 2 Assault Synchrons. Probably one of the better Synchron cards that are out there. You pay a 700 life point, special it out, and then it has a banish effect. But I felt like this had to be in because Yusei and Akiza in the anime and manga were extremely close, and it just does not feel like a proper Rose Dragon deck without this card. So we play that as a 2 of. And then to finish off the monsters for the deck is it fit the theme very well. Is we're playing 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs. Very typical. It's again probably one of the best hand traps still in the game. We're definitely playing this one in, especially since it fits the deck profile. It's a Ash Blossom represents flowers. That is all for the monsters in the deck. Next, I'm going to be showing off the spell cards. And the first 3 spell cards are 3 field spells. Is the 3 White Rose Cloister and 1 Black Garden. Cloister is good because if you control no monsters your opponent does, you can special summon a Rose Dragon or a plant monster from your hand. Then this, obviously, every time a monster is special summoned to a field, a token is summoned to the opposite field. So it just helps with those, with your opponent special summoning so many times, especially with Tenpai, you just keep getting tokens. Your turn comes around, and you just use those tokens to your advantage. Next is 2 Basil Rose Shoots. Another way to just recycle your Rose Dragons. I wish I had another super. Unfortunately, I have a super and a common. And then to go with our Synchron package, we're playing 3 tuning. It's I'm not worried about the top card of your deck to the graveyard effect of this. Especially since we're going to be recycling, well, grabbing our Synchron, and then either one of them going to be used from the hand to the field. And it's not really going to matter. And there's enough monsters in the deck to make sure you have a playable hand. So the 3 tuning. And then the last spell card for the main deck is 1 Call by the Grave. This card's universal. It goes in every single deck nowadays. It's just really helpful, especially since we're stuck in a hand trap format. The last 3 formats, nothing but hand traps. And we're still sadly stuck in fire format because Snake Eyes is still running around as the best deck. Onto the trap cards. 3 Imperm. Imperm, this deck really helps against Jubel, going against the Lotus. So that helps against Jubel. The Call By helps against Jubel because the Jubel cards want to be destroyed and go off in grave. So we go with the 3 Imperms. And then the final card of the deck is Scrap Iron Sacred Statue. This card helps with our Crimson Dragon play that is in the deck. And then also, it helps since we're playing a lot of Synchro Dragons. This is a 45 card deck. I wasn't really seeing anything at 40 cards, and then you don't really want to go above because then you're not going to see anything. So 45 actually works really well with this. Again, it's a slept-on deck, especially since Red Rose Dragon is back at 3, which really helps this deck out. I don't think we have to worry about base coming back again or anything, because a lot of other cards have been banned for that deck. Like the Fairy Tale, that's been banned. That's Christian Halki Fibrax banned. There's so many cards have been banned. We don't have to worry about that deck coming back. And within a Synchro Fire format, this is probably my favorite deck to play right now. On to our extra deck is we're playing 2 Black Rose Dragons. I see a lot of people playing this at a 3. I don't like it at 3. Just because we also play 2 other Rose Dragons. We're playing the Moonlight and then the Rudy. So you only need 2 of the Black Rose Dragons, especially with the cards in the deck that recycle them. This is probably the best ratio for the Synchron Rose Dragons. To go with finishing off the Rose Dragons is... obviously, we're playing 2 Crossroads. It has a pretty nifty effect. You contribute itself and another, and a plant monster to synchro summon a synchro monster from the extra deck, and it counts as a synchro summon. So that does it for the Rose Dragons of the deck. Next, we have Garden Rose Maiden and Garden Rose Flora. The tuner synchros. We also have a card in the deck that helps us recycle these from the graveyard. Flora is probably my favorite because it gets you the field spell, pops the field spell, gets you a 7 token, and then these can actually go into your Crimson Dragon, then Crimson Dragon plays. So that is it for the Rose and Plant package. Next, we're representing the rest of the signers. 1 Crimson Dragon, 1 Ancient Fairy Dragon, and I'm waiting for my quarter century rare to come in, but 1 Cosmic Blazar. Obviously, the Synchro monsters in the deck are level 7 and higher, So Crimson Dragon just really pops off with this, with any of them. Ancient Fairy's great. You get an extra normal summon, pop a field spell. And then Cosmic Blazar is an Omni Negate plus Summon Negate. You only get to choose one of them per turn, though, because it banishes itself until the end of the turn. So, representing the rest of the Sign of Dragons, those three, again, my quarter century Cosmic Blazar is on the way. Why I said we're not worried about, we can recycle the Synchro Tuners is because we're playing one Diabell. One Diabell from the White Forest. It recycles a spell, and then it also recycles a Synchro Tuner. Felt really good putting this into the deck at the level 8. We can get into it. It's just, it helps out the deck a lot, especially since it can recycle spells, and then gets us into extra Synchro plays. One F.A. Dawn Dragster. It's a spell negate. Those spells are going around a lot since, especially since White Forest is out there. White Forest, Runic, I've seen been coming up a lot. So we're playing one F.A. Dawn Dragster. One Centurion Legatia. Legatia gets us an extra draw, and it just helps piggyback off the Crimson Dragon to go into our Cosmic Blazar. So one of those, and then the final card of the extra deck is Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Really great against monster effects, especially since it is a quick effect. So you can go ahead, negate Nib, gain Nib's attack points, and then it also, if I'm reading this right, whenever I battle as an opponent's monster, it gains attack points. So that is the final card of the extra deck with this deck profile. Again, I found it pretty easy to get into any of these cards, especially with the ratios we are now playing, and Red Rose Dragon being back at 3. Onto the side deck of this deck profile. This all comes down to preference. It's just the way that this deck works at my locals and that. But we are side decking one Blue Rose Dragon. Blue Rose Dragon is nice. It's very nice, especially going synchro summoning into Red Rose Dragon, because if you use him and one of your level 3 tuners, since Red Rose, well, not him, but if you have him on field and then you summon your Red Rose, Black Rose Dragon, and when Black Rose Dragon is synchro summon, you blow up the field. Blue Rose Dragon goes off when it's destroyed. So when it's destroyed, you get the special summon of Rose Dragon from Grave. You'll bring back your Black Rose Dragon. It's no one else really knows that play, so I really haven't seen that being played in the deck profile a lot. So one Blue Rose Dragon. We are side decking 3 Droll and Lockbirds. Probably right along with that, one of the best hand traps in the game. Your opponent adds a card to their hand for the rest of the turn they can't add. And then another good hand trap this format is 3 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Especially against decks like Tenpai, where their effects go off and gain them attack points. Just say no and destroy the monster. It doesn't negate it, but it will destroy it. Onto the spell cards is playing 3 Cosmic Cyclones. Especially with field spells out there. Field spells are pretty, especially with Tenpai and Snake Eye. decently shown around it now. So we're playing 3 Cosmic Cyclones. Only bad part on that card is it costs you 1,000 life points. 2 Mark of the Rose. So Mark of the Rose, you activate it, take control of your opponent's monster. You banish a plant monster from your graveyard, and then target a face-up monster your opponent controls. Equip this card to it, and then take control of it until the end phase, and then negate its effects. Yeah. Negate its effects until your next standby phase. So at the Monster Steel, it works with this deck, especially with Rudy Rose working by banishing cards. So we played 2 Marks of the Rose. Since it's a Synchro heavy deck, we're playing 1 Synchro World. Playing this, grabbing all those counters, and then you go off those counters, remove them, and then you get effects. You can summon monsters from grave. Yeah, special monsters from grave. You can target monsters, make them unaffected. And then we're playing a 3rd Basil Rose shoot. Just in case we don't have enough to get our Rose Dragons back, Basil Rose shoot will do that. So we'll play a 3rd one in the side deck. And then as for the final card, is Blooming of the Darkest Rose. Bloom of the Darkest Rose. It was either this or Frozen Rose. I might replace, seeing how it goes, I might replace any of these 3 with Frozen Rose, just because Frozen Rose is kind of good. But I didn't have the room for it at the moment, so I just laid off on it and put in Blooming. Blooming of the Darkest Rose gets you tokens, basically lets you get into more synchro plays. Pretty much why it's in here. Red Rose Dragon searches it when it's summoned. So that is it for this deck profile. I am on the strings about the next deck profile because I have like 3 in the works. And I'm not going to be playing one of them too much longer. I was playing Mutant Runic. But since my fiance wants me to start getting White Forest stuff, I'm going to be making Runic White Forest. So I'm making a pure mutant build. I'm just not sure how long it will be until that build is ready. So that deck profile might be uploaded Friday or Sunday, one of those days. I'll let you know. Even if I don't play it anymore, I will post a deck profile because it is a pretty fun one. Mutant Runic, because the mutants like to be banished. So anyways, that is the deck profile of the day. Again, this, in my opinion, is a slept-on deck, especially at the ratios I have it at. Red Rose Dragon back at 3 really helps out the deck, helps the consistency of the deck because it just helps you combo off into your big synchro plays. If you like the deck profile, go ahead and like this video. Join us on the Team DDD Discord. They really help out a lot. They don't have any criticisms, really. I'll post the link to this down in the bottom. My buddy, the owner, Drip, knows that I do this. He gave me permission to do it. Any support he can get, he appreciates. So go ahead, follow that Discord. Watch his videos, because he has some pretty good deck profiles. I know he just posted Thunder Dragons not too long ago, since the banlist came out, and now Colossus back at 2. I will post again Friday or Sunday, depending on what I decide. I most likely will post the Mutant Runic deck, just because it is a fun deck to play. Um, if you guys have any at all opinions on the deck, decks I should do, things I should go over, I plan on starting openings too, and maybe even recording at locals if I get the chance. So that is all for now. This is the Overrun Galaxy signing out for this deck profile. I hope it was a fun one for you guys, and for those 5Ds fans out there, I really hope this deck did it for you, because I love this deck. I love this deck more than I did Synchrons. So that is all for this deck profile. I will see you guys next time, and I hope you guys have a good one. See ya.